Hi there, my name is Karis. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why Chick-fil-A team leaders are such great managers, and I will also just talk about what else these team leaders can do even better to become better leaders within the organization. So I actually am a team member at Chick-fil-A. I started working last summer, and honestly, best job ever. Whenever I got this job, I honestly thought it was just going to be another summer job that I was not going to really like. I needed it because my internship actually got canceled due to COVID-19, and I just really need a job, and I found out Chick-fil-A was hiring, so I was like, well, I guess I can work at Chick-fil-A. But I actually ended up falling in love with the job. Now, every time I've gone to Chick-fil-A to eat, I've had such great experiences, and I am literally addicted to the Chick-fil-A sauce. My first semester at college, I would literally go to Chick-fil-A at least 3 times a week. Went broke because of it, but it was absolutely worth it. And so I knew I loved the experience of being a guest at Chick-fil-A, but I wasn't sure if I would have liked the experience of being an employee, and I am so happy to say I love it, to the point where I actually like to go back and work during breaks. Here I thought it would just be a summer job, I wouldn't go back again if I didn't have to, and I voluntarily want to go back. I absolutely love it. So like I said in the beginning, this video is going to be about how team leaders at Chick-fil-A can improve on becoming even better team leaders. Now, I want to emphasize once again, I had a great experiences with Chick-fil-A. I really appreciated the team leaders, and while I was working there, I actually learned so much about leadership that I never thought I would learn at a restaurant setting. And that's because the team leaders and the owners of that particular Chick-fil-A were just very much of a great example of what it means to lead. So in this video, I'm mainly going to actually be talking about this book. It's called The 2-Hour Manager. I will link it in the description down below if you want to purchase one for yourself. But I recently just got done reading this book for my organizational management class, and I absolutely love it. So right now you're probably like, what the heck does 2-hour manager mean? You're not alone, because that was exactly what I was thinking whenever I first saw the book. But in this book, what the author is talking about is there are pretty much 2 types of leaders. They are those who are relators, and they are those who are requirers. And throughout the book, he's talking about how we can do both effectively. He's not telling us we must become one or the other to be quote unquote the best leader. Instead, he's teaching us how we need to apply both types of leaderships to become the best leaders to our team members. So say you want to become an even better Chick-fil-A team leader. What you want to do is go ahead and take this assessment. The assessment is included in this book. However, I can try to find the same assessment and link it down below for you all. So if you don't want to buy the book, you can go ahead and still take the assessment. Personally, I scored very high on the relator side. So 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. I scored a 10 on relating and a 2.8, I think, on the requiring. So I have a lot of work to do on the requiring side. But really quickly, I want to just now tell you the habits of a relator. And then the habits of a requirer. I do have my laptop over here with some notes, so when I'm looking this way, that's what I'm looking at. But so for those who score high as a relator, they really love working relationships. They want to be friends with those they work with. They are really good at motivating others. They provide really good guidance. They truly want to help each individual employee. They're the first ones to encourage and support you. They're very flexible with their employees, sometimes to a fault. And they often see mistakes as learning opportunities. And for those who score high on the requiring side, these people are very task oriented. They want to focus on goals and achievements. They carefully monitor your quality of work. They like to set deadlines and meet those deadlines. They want to exceed the boss's expectations, and they are very, very hard workers. Okay, so I'm now going to move on to talking about the pros of being a requirer and a relator, the downsides of these characteristics, and then what you can do to improve. We're going to start off with the pros of being a relator. So like I said earlier, if you're a relator, you are going to be very empathetic, and people love empathy. They want to feel like you truly care about them. You are going to be liked by a lot of people because you're going to be more personable. And you are most likely going to build a very safe environment for people to express themselves and just feel more comfortable at work. And you are most likely going to also be very easy to get along with. These kind of leaders, guys, are just so nice to work with, and a lot of the team leaders I had at Chick-Fil-A were exactly like this. I never felt like I couldn't speak while I was working. It was fun. It was loving. Each team leader made me feel like I was an important part of the team, and a lot of relators have such a great way of making people feel cared and appreciated for. Now, the downside of being a relator. People might not take you seriously because a lot of times you are super busy trying to make everybody like you, that sometimes people kind of forget that you are in a leadership role. You don't expect enough out of people. So if you are a relator, you kind of rather just fix the mistake that was made by a person than expecting them to redo it properly. I am really bad about that. And with that, you are usually willing to exchange good performance for easy relationships. So you rather, again, fix somebody else's mistakes than lose that relationship by telling them to do it right. You're very obsessed with pleasing people. Oh, I'm really bad about that. I am a huge people pleaser. And people can kind of get creeped out by you, which it makes sense, because if somebody is very low on the relating side and you go to them and you want to be all personable and want to know about their life, they're gonna be like, okay, hold on, like, I don't even know you, why are you trying to be my friend? And it can make them feel very, very uncomfortable, and that's kind of awkward. If you do score high on the relating side, these are some things you can do to become a better leader. So the first thing is really make sure you are requiring good work out of your employees. I know it can be intimidating to tell somebody how to do something properly, but you do have to just keep in mind that if you don't keep those who you are leading accountable, they are not going to really feel the pressure to have to perform. You also need to be clear about what you want. I know as a relator personally, I kind of beat around the bushes because I don't want to come off as mean or direct, but some people really need that direction. They want to know exactly what it is you're wanting out of them, and when you say those things out loud, to you it might sound like it's mean, but to them they actually do appreciate it because they want to know exactly what they need to do and what you need from them. So another thing to keep in mind, and this has helped me so much, is think about the long-term gain as opposed to the short-term loss. So say you are a team leader and you are just having this conflict with a team member who is not doing what you are asking of them. And as a relator, it would be so much easier to just kind of brush off that conflict because you don't want to lose the friendship and relationship that you have with them. But you need to think about long-term goals, and that is to make sure you are leading that team member in a proper way so that they become better leaders outside of work as well as at work. So if you just kind of brush off that conflict you're having with them, yeah, you might have that relationship with them. However, you're not really helping them become better. And the last thing is just dial it down a little bit. If somebody doesn't feel comfortable talking about, personal things, then don't ask them for personal information about their life. Some people just really don't feel comfortable with that. I know it's crazy because I think like, why wouldn't people want to talk about their life? Like, that's how you get to know others, but really there are people who don't appreciate it. Okay, moving on to requirers. So some of the great qualities of a requirer is they produce really good work, and they are very clear about what they want out of their employees, and they are really good at setting goals and priorities and achieving those goals and meeting deadlines. And this is the one I admire most, is they are really good at resolving conflict. This is my goal in life, is to become better at resolving conflict, because usually there is conflict and then there's me just running away from it. And I don't want to be like that. I really, really want to get better, and I just admire those who just know how to go on head on and resolve a conflict. As for the downside of being a requirer, is a lot of times those who are high on the requiring tend to put results over people, and sometimes it's harder for these leaders to have empathy and compassion because they're so focused on the end goal. It's hard to just kind of like be in tune with the touchy-feely things, as they might label it. A lot of times these leaders are micromanagers, and that's because they really want things done properly and they want to achieve these goals. It doesn't come from a place of they just think everybody is terrible at their job, but they really do want to make sure the job is done well, so they can kind of come off as micromanagers. It can make people around them feel very stressed and overwhelmed. Personally, when I have somebody that's just like super hardcore, I just get so scared. Like, I could be like trying to write my name and I would somehow misspell it because I'd be so stressed because I know that person's looking at me. So these people kind of have a harder time creating a safe, fun environment. So what can those who score high on the requiring side do better to become better leaders? So the very first thing is just try to understand people, because without people, all of it kind of dwindles down and fails. Like, all the goals, all the plans that you might have, if you don't have people, then you can't achieve those goals and plans. And not only do you need people, but you need people who feel cared for, loved for, and very much so appreciated for who they are. You're definitely going to want to dial it down on the micromanaging. Give people the opportunity to prove themselves and let them feel like they can do it without you telling them how to do it. To put this in a more concrete way, so if you do score high as a requirer and you are a team leader at Chick-Fil-A, there are some things you might be doing that really kind of hurts people from performing well, and you probably don't even know it. I'm going to point out a few things that I'm kind of thinking of. So say you are a team leader and there's a team member bagging an order. If you go to that person and you just kind of like stare at them, you might be doing that because you just want to make sure that team member is bagging the correct food, because you want to make sure, you know, everybody gets the right orders. And that's good. As a leader, you should be worried about that. However, if that team member who's bagging the food is generally just timid and is kind of afraid to let people down and just afraid to make mistakes, as soon as they know that you're back there staring at them, they might get flustered in their head. They might just kind of like make mistakes that they normally wouldn't make just because you are now staring at them. Another thing is, maybe you haven't been talking to a team member very much and you don't really know their personality, and as one of the jobs of a team leader is to assign a team member to a station, and maybe this person you don't know very well just loves people, loves working outside as order taker or as someone who runs the food to the people. But because you don't really know this person, maybe you're just putting them in the back, doing drinks all the time, and that's not really like what they excel at. If you take the time to just kind of get to know the person, you would have known that, oh, like this person is so good with people. They really appreciate being able to talk to the customers, and they're good at talking to customers and making the customers feel loved and welcomed and appreciated. However, when they're at drinks, maybe they have a little bit of a harder time because they're kind of missing that human interaction, and they're not really getting to exercise their strength, which their strength happens to be people skills and relational skills. So as a leader in that situation, if you are more of a relator and you exercise that part of you and you step out of your comfort zone and you get to know that team member, you might be able to place them in a better spot. So the end goal here is, if you want to be a good manager, you want to be a 2R manager. What that means is you want to understand how to require and relate, not one or the other, but both. You also want to understand which method to use when. Before I leave, I want to give you one great example of what a 2R manager looks like. This person I worked with at my Chick-Fil-A, and he taught me so much about leadership. This person was an outstanding leader. This person was so good at relating to every single person that was there working, but also was so good at requiring good work out of us. And when he required work out of us, it didn't feel like he was bossing us around. It felt like he was wanting to make us better. And when things were just chaotic, he was always there to step in and help. He wasn't just at the back being like, do that, do that, do that. No, he was in there working with us. He was quick to give compliments, and when we made mistakes, he didn't look at it as, oh my gosh, once again, you failed. He looked at it as, no, okay, so this is what you did wrong, and this is what we're going to do to improve. So he looked at mistakes as opportunities to teach and to coach. Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Once again, I do want to let you know this book will be linked in the description down below. Seriously, I 10 out of 10 recommend it. But yeah, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment them down below. And if you want to go ahead and subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram while you're at it, feel free to do so. I will have my Instagram handle in the description down below as well. But that is it for today, and until next time, bye.